Hi, guys. It is your girl V with Reality Recap here for another Tea Talk session. And this time we are discussing this past Sunday's episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine. This is another recorded session. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video onto my YouTube channel. And look out for my live sessions and some more recorded sessions that I'll be doing throughout the rest of this week. I still owe you my unsolicited thoughts on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, as well as last night's epic hair shaming episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. The girls just continue to do their thing. So I will be back with those uploaded videos sometime tomorrow. So set your alerts. Again, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. All right. Let's get into last Sunday's episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. We, start where we left at Wendy's 40th birthday party, where the ladies are asking Mia, or really Giselle brought up the topic to Mia about how when they were at the GNA Fusion event, Mia talked about how the relationship with Ink, he put it on hold per se or he put the co-parenting on hold because G wasn't comfortable with it. He, outed her about, this misfortune. I don't want to get kicked off of here that she had allegedly after, I guess, a fling with Ink, and that things weren't going well and it was impacting her relationship with Ink. She even tried to shed a little tear through them little Botox eyes and cheeks, honey. So, less than 24 hours later, which I actually saw that post when Mia put it up, of G and of Ink and her kids and Jackie and her at the pool over this summer. So Giselle was simply asking, like, hey, if you just told us less than 24 hours ago things weren't going well and Ink went on the break, then we see you on social media with Ink and G and this whole like big family affair where everybody looks happy, comfy, and cozy. What's the deal? Because it's not, 2 + 2 is not equaling 4. And I do think that, they were also harping on the fact that Mia said, the fathers of her children, and they were like, fathers? I thought G was the father. And they were, kind of holding on to that because we all know that the paternity of Mia's son with G is in question, or has been in question since last season, that she said fathers. And it was for shock value. I do think that Mia does and says things for shock value, for ratings, for followers, for popularity on the show. We've talked about this week after week how with Mia, if it's giving a little thirst that she wants to be on this show. She wants that middle flute. That's her new form of income now that the joint practices are being sold. And she will exploit her family clearly with putting this maternity test on out there for the show as a storyline. She will do whatever's needed, necessary for shock value and popularity. So she kind of backtracks saying, well, I do have a child with my ex-husband before G, and that's what she was trying to say she meant by that. But it was for shock value. Mia knows what she's doing, and I don't know. I told you, I don't know who told her she got the perfect housewife formula, but she believes that she has it. It's kind of evident to me that she, okay, I'm gonna have a little drama with the girls, start a little shit with everybody. I'm gonna show them y'all call it a love triangle, I call it a love square, because Jackie and that pimp village as well that Karen talked about at the end of the episode. We're going to get into it, but it's definitely giving, she thinks she got this in the bag. So that's why she says the things like that. I also just wanted to mention in that it speaks volumes to me that the ladies only know of citation as a negative definition. When Wendy said that she was getting her citation from the governor of Maryland, and they were like, citation? You sure you've been drinking too much? The fact that that's the only citation they know is in a negative context was hilarious to me, and it speaks volumes. We also saw at the baby shower, not the baby shower, Lord, at the birthday party that, after that scene, Stacy goes back and she's trying to talk to TJ and she's telling TJ that Wendy got got the citation, and she's trying to have a conversation with him. And he just seems super rude, super annoyed. We already saw how he told her, don't put your hand on me. He was upset that she was mingling and I guess, kind of working the room and talking to the friends. She's on camera. She has to be a part of the conversations. And he was like, you came to this party to hang out with everybody but me. So he, I don't know. I don't like him for her, just the way he treats her. And then even after that, when she was talking to him, he seemed annoyed, almost as if he was annoyed that she was over there in the conversation with the other girls and he was left alone. And I agree with Ashley. Like, you a grown man. You don't have enough charisma to talk to other people and make friends. You just gonna sit here with an attitude because I'm mingling and you not. It's weird. It's very weird. So I just don't know about him for her. Ashley and Stacy have a conversation at the birthday party at 2, and Stacy's telling her that she's going into mediation. And Ashley kind of gathers the other girls. I call them the first word wives club, because you have Giselle who's going through her divorce, Ashley going through her divorce, and then you have Karen in there in the mix too. But they sat down with Stacy to kind of warn her about going through mediation and how people change when they start going through divorce. They start, they're not the same person that you thought they were. They start fighting over things, custody, money, and that she should prepare herself, that she should sit down with her lawyer and be very specific and write down everything she's looking to get out of the divorce. And they were trying to warn her that, it's not going to be all butterscotch clouds and rainbows. And if I had $1 for every housewife that we've seen go through divorce and say, but they don't know my situation, this is going to be an amicable divorce, and I know this happened like them for them, but it's going to be different for me. How many times have we heard that? I swear I would be a millionaire at this point. Even with Kyle, right? We're hearing that with Kyle, like, oh no, he always mentions in interviews and in his book how he's going to split everything 50-50. And it's just not realistic for Kyle to think that, Mauricio is going to split his real estate business that he's built with her 50-50. Or in this event, Stacy saying, like, we're so cool, we're so pleasant. If you were so cool and so pleasant, you'd still be married. You wouldn't be going through this divorce. It's just very naive. But they did try to warn her, and not to portray, and it didn't come off like they were projecting on her what they've gone through, but just sharing their experience with her. So it seemed like just a good bonding, supportive moment. We then see Kay visit her man, Greg, at his business. I don't like him, guys. I don't like him. He comes off very, a father to her instead of I'm her husband. And he says things like she gonna have to act right to get his last name. Like she has to jump through hoops and hurdles to be his wife and not the other way around, that he should be courting her, treating her well, supporting her for them to move forward with the marriage. Of course, he has to see qualities in her of being a wife, but to say things like that, just, I don't like that. I don't. And why was his employees looking at Kay like that? They look like they ain't like her, or what has Greg said about her? But they was just, maybe it was the cameras and they were annoyed that the cameras were there or they had to be on camera, but they were just sitting and looking at her like, or almost as if they're like, why are you coming in here playing like you sit here at this desk so that you help with this business? We don't never see you. Maybe that's what it was. But they were definitely looking at her like, why are you here? Kay and Greg sit down and she's talking about her personal injury lawsuit that she has against Deborah, Sesame Street character from last season at the last GNA event where she got the cut in her forehead. She says she's moving along. It caused a lot of trauma. I do know Deborah countersued her. I forget for what exactly, because it doesn't matter. It's going to get thrown out most likely. But, she's pursuing a lawsuit against Deborah. But at this point, it's looking positive, and that the lawyer said let them handle it. Kind of, she can be hands off and let them handle it. She better check in, though, because them lawyer fees add up. So how long they just going to be handling it? you might want to check on that. Um, we then see the girls get together, and Stacy, it seemed like Stacy had that light bulb moment, right? She went to mediation, her first mediation, and there was a lot that she did not know about, because she said that they had a traditional marriage where he paid all the bills. She never had to kind of worry about those things. And it was cool. I ain't gonna say cool to see, but interesting to see. I'll say that Wendy also talked about how she doesn't know what mortgage company her house is in. Like, she doesn't worry about mortgage, she doesn't worry about any of those type of bills, utilities. She don't even know who her utility suppliers are for like water, gas, electricity. She don't know none of that. I said, must be nice. But he said she didn't know any of that. And Stacey just talked about how it she found out things in the mediation accounts she didn't know about, things that he had in her name that she didn't know about, that she was just honestly shocked and also in need of a learning curve, right? Because she's never had to pay these bills, and now she's stepping out on her own and has to figure it out. Um, and she seemed appreciative of the girls talking to her and kind of prepping her for her mediation, her having that conversation with her lawyer beforehand to kind of talk about what it is she want out of the divorce. So she may not be going through such a pleasant divorce as she thought she would, unless, especially if she's going to start asking for things like alimony, child support, those things, it's probably not going to go as smoothly as she thought, but we'll see how that unfolds. And they also, they also were warning her as well, like, girl, I think they were warning her for multiple reasons. Like, you have a boyfriend on this show, but you're still married. Number one, the husband can use that against her, right? Like, I don't know the laws in Maryland, but in some states, like, or having that could still be looked at as cheating or adultery, because you're still technically married. So that could hurt her. And they were saying, like, chill out on the relationship with TJ, the boyfriend, and at least till you get through this mediation. Karen was like, you better hide, sis, like, hide that relationship, because it could hurt her in her divorce proceedings, depending on what those laws are in that state. And it also can cause him to be upset, like, you in here asking for my money, but you already got a boyfriend. Why he can't take care of you? So they were warning her about that as well. And I agree, especially for the fact that he ain't treating her that great and he ain't giving her none. So I would put that on the back burner and worry about this divorce. But it was good to see her again kind of absorb that information they gave her, take heed to it instead of getting defensive and rude. And when they're really trying to help her, just like I feel Kyle should do. Sutton is getting what, $350,000 a month out of her divorce. I would be listening to Sutton and using her same lawyer. The fuck, I definitely would. So it's good to see, at least in this instance, Stacey listen and take heed to their advice. We also heard Ashley talk about her mediation, which we saw her go to, and we didn't learn anything about what happened until this scene with Stacey. And she talked about her mediation didn't go as well as what she was expecting a fight. Michael has been giving her a hard time throughout the divorce. He's a wealthy man who you were living under and he was supporting, and now he is making sure you don't get no money, you only get the bare minimum for the children, and he's making the divorce proceedings hard for her, which is leading to probably a ton of lawyer fees. But they had a mediation that she said went for 9 hours and they still didn't come to an agreement. Mainly, they were able to work out the custody where he will have the children 10 days out of the month. She'll have him during the week and he gets weekends and stuff like that. But it seems like he's asking for some, like, a confidentiality clause where she can't speak about him on the show at all, like, ever, for the rest of her time on television, or pretty much eternity. She can't say anything negatively about him. She can't discuss him. And that's part of her storyline. And she was not willing to sign that. And Karen had a good point. If now, he's not trying to give her much money out of this. We learned that like she's not getting what she thought she was going to get by divorcing him and staying with him for the amount of years that she did. But Karen said that's how you get your money. And I hope she take heed to that too. It's like, if you want me to be quiet and not mention you, cool. I'll do that, but pay me. Give me that. I'm going to need that monthly to not talk about you on this show. Because if I don't talk about you, I may lose this opportunity on this show. I think not. Just show us something else going on, because we over this divorce that's been taking 500 years anyway. So I doubt that would necessarily get her off the show. But yeah, if you want me to be quiet, you're going to have to pay me to be quiet. And as long as that confidentiality clause does not say anyone else on the show can't talk about him, then let's do it. So we'll see how. She said that they weren't able to come to an agreement. There wasn't going to be like, Stacey said she had multiple mediations scheduled. Hers was kind of like, they didn't get to do that, if they didn't get to come to an agreement, she would have to file with the courts for like moving forward with the official, like go to court divorce if the mediation didn't work. But she said that her lawyer and his lawyer were trying to work some things out to see if they could come to an agreement before it got to that step. And that's what she was waiting to hear from. So we'll hear more about that in the upcoming episodes. We then see Mia and Jackie go shopping together. It seemed like to me, I'm gonna be honest, it seemed like to me, Mia was tricking off on Jackie. And she comes in and like, can I kiss you on the mouth? And it's just, I'm not gonna say it's weird, but it's clear to me, in my opinion, that something's still going on between them. And that's why I said it's not a love triangle with G, Ink, and Mia. It's a love square, and Jackie's up in it too. And probably with a dotted line to her PP, they call him the PP, her children's father that she was once, I think, married to or together with and not together with. And now they're trying to figure it out, and it's complicated stages where it's at. But do y'all see what I'm saying when y'all watch that? You let me know in the comments. You let me know. How rude. I wrote in my comments, they're scissoring. Oops, how rude. I should have said that. But in that conversation, also, Mia tells Jackie that she's upset with Giselle for questioning her about the social media posts 24 hours after she was saying that Ink put their relationship on a pause, or the co-parenting on a pause. So I thought it was a valid question. I don't get what the big deal was about it. You know, it was a valid question. You were just crying a day ago. So what had happened since then? Let me know. But she said that she was going to definitely bring it up and have a conversation with her, which she did at Ashley's, what do we want to call that? Ashley's jump off the building event. She literally had everybody come out to watch her scale a building with like a bungee cord or whatever. She scaled down the building of a like high rise, and she had everybody, including her children, come out to watch it. Listen, maybe it's liberating, maybe it's new beginnings. I don't get it. I don't know, but she invited them out to that. Um, and they were there. They were supportive, but I didn't understand. Like, that's what I'm saying. Ashley needs more to her storyline. We're over the Michael thing. I do see in the mid-season trailer that aired that she has some type of, relationship starting, or guy she's dating. We'll see what's that about. But she's gonna have to bring more to the table. Either you're gonna have to get in the mud, sis, and bring up the messy, turn up the messy like Mia doing, because half the stuff Mia's saying, Ashley always be in her confessions like, yeah, I had heard that too. So why you can't bring it up? You're gonna have to get in the mud and get in the messy if you want to continue, because you scaling down the wall ain't much of a storyline for me, and it was only for one episode. But Mia pulls Giselle aside, and she's angling the conversation, in my opinion. She's angling the conversation as if Giselle is questioning what she posts on social media, and that's her life and she's posting it versus how she thinks Giselle is posting this picture perfect life like nothing's wrong. But in actuality, she kind of brings her daughters into it, which was nasty work to me. But she brings her daughter into it like, yeah, I didn't go tell that you saw your daughters on the Ring camera sneaking a boy in the Dominican Republic. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't get it, because it was a valid question to say that, hey, 24 hours ago you said things weren't going well, but then we see you on social media. What does that have to do with what Giselle posts on her social media, or the fact that you're saying she posts this picture perfect life when in fact things are going on? But you are the one that's bringing your situation with G and Ink to the forefront. You're the one telling this business. You say you confided in her, but you did it on camera in front of her and all the other women. So if that's not what Giselle chose to do, and she said like, but those, that's my daughters. If they want to portray that on their social medias, that's up to them. But why do I have to post those type of things on my social media? It just wasn't making sense, and it was really just a way for her to angle it to out what had happened with Giselle's daughters. And I agree with what Karen said. Like, children are off limits. Why are you even bringing that up? It was so corny to me that she did that. And again, it's just, I don't know who told her she has the perfect formula, but she believes so that she does. And Giselle said that she's absorbing the information and then she's going to react. I can't wait to see her reaction. I can't wait to see what else happens in this conversation or after that, because clearly they're not friends. And, we saw the interview recently that Giselle did, or maybe you didn't. Giselle did an interview where she said she's tired of Mia on the show. All she does is lie. You can't believe nothing that she says. So clearly they still beefing. But I'm curious to see how she react. Me, I would have smacked in her mouth for talking about my children. That's just me. But I just thought that had nothing to do with you using them, your family for a storyline, and her questioning that versus her seeing her daughter sneak a boy in the house on a Ring camera. I didn't get that at all. It wasn't cool. It was corny, and y'all can care for me if you want to. I personally do not. But that's how the episode ended. We'll see again where that goes. And I was just cracking up when Karen said, I don't know what's going on with Mia, but handling or wrangling that pimp village got her losing her mind to bring up the children. And I totally agree with that. Definitely running a pimp village over there. I saw you, she tricking on Jackie in one episode she picking Ink up from the airport and they together. Another, she with G and Ink and arguing about paternity tests and letting him, making sure that they can be around each other. It's just too much. It's too much. And they're all in on it. I told y'all that. In my opinion, they all in on it. Jackie's in on it. Mia is in on it. Ink's in on it. G is on it. I think they're all in it. I do. They all sat down and put together their mood board and their plan of their storyline for this season. And Jackie always jumping in stuff. Like even when they were having the conversation and Giselle says something to her, she's like, "What? Can I speak? I was there." No, we don't need you to speak. We're good. Because what she said, oh, well, gee, he's good with it for a minute. Then the other half of the time, he's not. So why are you posting like everything's hunky dory? Hey, Kathy. Uh, but why are you posting like everything is hunky dory if 10 minutes later he mad about it? So you accusing Giselle of only posting the picture perfect. It seems like you're only doing the same thing. That's all we see on her. It's not like she's on her social media. Well, she did out G now as, saying that he's like an abuser and he used her and, he got with her when she was very young and manipulated the situation. She did put a little like statement out like that. But other than when she did that, that's what you're doing. You posting like everything's great with Ink. You posting everybody together like everything's cool. So given what I always say, pot calling the kettle calling the pot. I don't know, but it was an okay episode. I still think that, call me biased because Salt Lake City is bringing it. But I do think that Potomac has to step up their game. They're not there yet. It's all right though. Episode was cool. Now let's move into Married to Medicine. Cecil is in the hot seat because he invited Quad to Whitnick without letting Simone know. And she questions that, like, I get it. You are cool with Quad. That's your friend. She's one of your favorites. And you invited her, but you should have communicated that with me. Totally agree. And I keep saying, isn't that what got Sisu in trouble the last time when he had the best friend and he was always she coming over and staying for weeks at a time and he always golfing with her and not home? What ain't that what almost broke up his marriage the last time? He loved these women best friends. But Cecil was also right too, where he did the same when she was feuding with Jackie. I guess he tried to keep her friendships intact for her. He's picked that up as his extra to do. So, but I do agree with Simone. He should have told her that he had invited Quad. You shouldn't catch your wife off guard like that. What else did we see? Simone is also, she's holding her ground with Quad and feeling like she's not about to do a whole lot of apologizing. And I have to kind of agree with Simone. Now, I don't agree with how they treated Quad last season and kind of voting her off the winery island and making her go home on that trip and kind of trying to get her out of the show, which Heavenly has been online this past week doing a lot of talking in code words, but really being, direct in her codes, that there was meetings behind Quad's back, including Phaedra, and they were trying to get her off the show. They wanted her off the show. So she's kind of spilling all the tea this week in those interviews. I did have them on my story if you guys saw them there. But yeah, so like I said, I don't agree with what they did that last season, but I do agree to some extent with Simone is saying how, when Quad was going through her divorce with Greg, she shied away from the group. She acted like that morning show she was on, that they were her better friends and she wasn't coming around. She wasn't responding to them. She was going ghost and she's not going to continue to chase Quad. It's either you want to have this friendship or you don't. And she also feels like they were cool when they left the reunion. Apologies were done. And then soon as I guess the episodes start airing, people had thoughts and comments on how they kicked her off of the trip last season, that she jumped back on the bandwagon of, yeah, that wasn't right, right? Yeah, yeah. And she stopped talking to Simone. So she's kind of feeling like, I thought we resolved this. We're going back and I ain't going to keep chasing you for this friendship. You want it or you don't. So in that sense, I agree with Simone. And I also think that Quad is kind of dragging this through how they did her on the trip so bad. She keeps talking about it, but if you've forgiven them, you're moving on, then let's just really move on. So, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about the rest of the episode. But G and Sweet Tea, they went out to dinner. We saw them out. The whole scene with him talking about how they like to role play and her with the glasses on and looking down was awkward and a little bit of I'm good off that. I don't want to picture that at all. Not sure why that needed to be talked about. But Sweet Tea is saying how she feels Heavenly is obsessed with her. She pulled up a YouTube video with Child. The title of the YouTube video that Heavenly was on was Get Sweet Tea Off the Show or something to that effect. And I was just cracking up. Like, she does go hard Heavenly when she doesn't like someone or she has a lot of opinions on the show. But if then you have an opinion on Dr. G, I mean, Damien or her, then she's offended. Then she feels like that gives her all the right to just go in on Dr. G and his practice and him not being a respected physician. If y'all want to get into it, in my opinion, Heavenly started all of this when Sweet Tea just first came on the show and talking about how she's young and she, what are they doing together? She talked down on their relationship, and you just don't do that because she don't want that done to her. Because the moment Sweet Tea said that, well, you told me that you believed Mariah when she said she got the receipts and the invoices, that you believed that. And the minute she told that out to the public, that's when you start attacking with those, Sweet Tea gotta go and doing the videos and talking about her and the tweets back and forth and talking about her husband, Dr. G, and his practice. So it's like you dish it, but you can't take it, in my opinion. And Do I think, let me be clear, do I think that Sweet Tea was telling the truth, or that Dr. Heavenly actually shared that with her, or if she actually shared that she hit Damon over the head with a frying pan and all this other stuff? I don't. I don't necessarily believe that, but in my opinion, Heavenly started this. From the minute Sweet Tea stepped on the scene, she started it by minding their business and what they had going on, and their age gap ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Because wasn't she mad when they talked about her marriage and how she trapped Dr. Damon and he only married her because she was pregnant? All right then. You don't like that, so don't talk about other people's stuff. And we'll be good. But is Heavenly obsessed with Sweet Tea? Obsessed with talking trash and getting views on her YouTube? Yes. Actually obsessed? No. We then see Qua hand deliver her party invitations. She's hand delivering her party invitations for her birthday. And it was very awkward. All of it was awkward. I mean, even her going to Simone and having these two flight attendants in these cheaper flight attendant costumes deliver the invitations when she could have just put them in the mail. You know what it gives me? It gives me like when we used to watch MTV, probably telling my age, but when we used to watch Sweet 16 on MTV, and they would go riding around delivering all the invitations and we would get the reactions. That's what she was trying to accomplish, and it was not necessary. You could have just dropped them in the mail at your grown age. But she, like, because when the ladies went in, Simone was like, okay, so where's Quiet? And they're like, out in the Rolls Royce. And she ended up going outside anyway. So could have just dropped them in the mail. But she's handing out her, or hand delivering her party invitations, and she gets to Dr. Contessa's house and gives Dr. Contessa her invite, but Sweet Tea is there, who she is not inviting. That was just hilarious, because you see Sweet Tea standing at the door with them glasses, holding them up on her nose like this, and she's like, yeah, here's your invitation. And it's like a Paris themed birthday party. So it was like a passport with a boarding pass invitation. And she's telling Dr. Contessa, here's your boarding pass and your passport. See you there. And she's like, oh, okay. Sweet Tea's up there. You don't want to say hi? She's like, we have to get going now. And she's just standing there. But Sweet Tea says she didn't need to be invited. She wouldn't have went anyway. And we'll talk about Toya later in the episode. Or we could talk about it now. I don't get why anyone would expect Quad to invite Sweet Tea to her birthday party or any of her events. That is her ex-husband's new wife. In real life, why would they need to be off of camera? Not saying this isn't real life, but off camera, any of y'all hanging out with y'all ex-husband, new wife? I could see if they had children and it's a co-parenting situation, but that's not the case here. They don't have no children together. They did not end their marriage on a great note. Why does she need to hang around with the girl that's now living in the house that she used to live with her ex-husband? That makes no sense. I'm not inviting my ex-husband, new wife. I don't even discuss, talk, want to be near any of that. So why would y'all be expecting that? Not saying y'all my viewers, but Toya brought that up at the party, like, oh, you felt isolated, now you isolating her. No, she cool with y'all hanging out with her, it seems, but she's not inviting her to her birthday party. What would be the purpose of that? Makes no sense to me. I definitely wouldn't do it, and I don't know why they would even expect that, because none of them would do it. So after we see her delivering the party invitations, we see Simone, Contessa, and Toya talking, and they do talk about how Contessa let them know that Sweet Tea was there when they delivered the invitations. Toya saying like how she's excluding her, and again Simone is saying she's not about to go on no apology tour over and over and over with Quad as they get ready for her party. And it's the night of Quad's party, and while she's having her party and the ladies are attending that, the men have a guys' night. And during Quad's party, she introduces her new man, King. Now, I have seen King on social media. I do follow him on Instagram. Um, I'm not sure what he's very mysterious in the fact of I can't tell what he does for a living. I can tell that he has children already that are a bit older and they're not in their teens, but they definitely look like, I mean, could be like 10, 9-ish, 12-ish, I think, from what I saw, if I recall. Don't quote me on that. But he does look like he has two children, a boy and a girl. I'm not clear on what he does for a living that he could afford this lavish party. He's in Rolls Royces on his pages. We know he gifted Quad a Rolls Royce. So I can tell you this. I don't know what he does, but it doesn't seem like he's a doctor. I don't see him in any scrubs in any hospitals. He doesn't say in his bio what he does, so I'm interested to get to know him more. I'm happy for Quad. She got her a nice little young chocolate thing. I hope it works out for her. I'm not clear what he does for a living. And I'm only bringing that up because this is Married to Medicine, but I guess it's like Basketball Wives and Housewives and everything else where they're not really basketball wives or they're divorced and they're not actually housewives anymore. So, tomato, tomatoes. I guess she started on this show with a doctor and she's a part of the cast, but I do not think that he's a doctor. So we'll have to learn a little bit more about Quad's man King. Also, he's not clear on his Instagram what his real, I ain't gonna say his real name because King is his last name for what she said, and that's what they call him. But what his first name is, I am not clear. Then also, she said that they have been dating for a year. I did find it tacky that she said on the mic that he paid for the whole party. Wasn't really necessary, but she did. And she tells the ladies and that they've been dating for a year. Dr. Heavenly had me cracking up because she's like, I don't know if she be hiding him in the other room or she be in the bathroom talking, or when we on FaceTime and she tell him be quiet like he's some type of side chick is how she made it seem. But she says she's not gonna say that Quad is lying, but she ain't never seen him before. So how she kept this under the wraps, I hope that comes up. They don't live together, it seems. But we'll see if she can give a little bit more detail on how she hid that from her friends for a whole year. While they're at the party, enjoying the party, we see the men's or the guys' night out. And with the guys' night out, Dr. G decided to have a conversation with Damon about the things that Heavenly has been saying online about his practice, which I thought he handled it well. And it was a practical conversation. Dr. G, he's saying that he feels like Dr. Heavenly goes too far, talking about his business, talking about his practices. And Damon, to my opinion, he's not addressing it, and he's not addressing it with Heavenly, but it seems like he's not addressing it because he's upset with Dr. G that in the reunion last season, Dr. G didn't say, yeah, I know you well, I don't think you cheating, I know your character, that's not in you. When he asked Dr. G at the reunion, do you think I'm cheating, do you think that about me, he was like, I don't know what you do. And he wasn't expecting that response from someone that he's been friends with for a very long time and conducted a lot of business with. So that's what he seems upset about. So I hope they can hear each other. It was a very surface conversation. Like, Dr. Damon, he mentioned how he feels like Dr. G has been turning away patients. They refer to him because of this feud. Dr. G says that no, he's just really busy and can't accommodate the patients. I don't necessarily believe that. I do think it has something to do with the feud and the things that Dr. Heavenly has said. But they come to some type of common ground, like, not really, in my opinion. Like, Damon's like, okay, so are you good? But he never says, you know, I'll talk to Heavenly. She did go a little hard, but she did that because of this. Just at least acknowledge it and speak through it, because it seems like Dr. G is really hurt by it. Not that it hurt his practice, right? If he's saying he's too busy to take Dr. Damon's clients, so it doesn't seem like it hurt his pockets, but he just, he didn't like that being said about him, that he's not respected in the community. So I agree with Cecil. Again, maybe it's just a beginning conversation. It was very surface. They did say at FanFest, Toya and Simone said that the men bring a lot of drama this season. So this clearly, in my opinion, isn't over. and we'll see where it goes from here. But both good episodes with Potomac and Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine is chugging along. We only 2 or 3 episodes in, so it's still kind of warming up. They don't call me biased. Again, it's Salt Lake City, how they come out the gate. Boom. The Bezos dinner was out of control, but it's trucking along. We'll see how it goes, but I am enjoying it. I'm happy for Quad and her new relationship. We'll see where things go from here with Heavenly, Sweet Tea, Dr. G, Damon, all of those components, Simone, Quad. Simone was, they did have a quick, she's appreciative to be invited to the party. So we'll see where it goes from there. Excuse me, guys. The dryer is binging in the background. I do apologize for that. But that's why y'all gotta help support me so I can get out of this basement and get into the studio. So I appreciate that. And on that note, if you have a business or a product that you want me to promote on my social media platforms, we continue to grow daily. I appreciate the support. Or if you would like to be a sponsor for the podcast, I'm looking for sponsors for the podcast that will promote your business or product on each podcast episode. If you're interested in either, you can message me, you can DM me, or what you see on the screen, the reality_recap at yahoo.com for more information. And how do you support for free, guys? Like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the videos, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. It's what you see here, reality_recap, so you don't miss anything. I got you covered on all the breaking news, the gossip, the recaps, my thoughts on all the episodes where you can share yours as well. I also go live from time to time and do the podcast live so we can interact there. So look out for that later in this week. Now, like I say, before I end all my shows, reality TV stars are humans too. Don't forget that. It's your girl with Reality Recap. And look for more videos. Subscribe, set your alerts. Videos dropping tomorrow for my thoughts on last episode, this week's episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, as well as last night's episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and more shows to come over the weekend. So sneak peeks on the way on my social medias. Y'all have a great evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.